Miller, and this is the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, as presented to you by our friends at the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation. We'll hear from area coaches just like we did last season, as well as administrators on the show, but newly inserted here in our second year is going to be our senior spotlight, where we're going to highlight some of the area high school seniors on their achievements, whether it's a particular sport, extracurricular activities, or their good works they're doing in the community or in the classroom as well. This week on the show, we'll hear from defending football champion North Dakota. That's Troy Mattern from the Fargo Shanley Deacons. We'll also sit down with Eric Olson from Sargent County on the Bulldogs, transitioning from the 11-man game to the 9-man game this season in North Dakota. We'll hear from Brady Schwab of the Thompson Tommies of what's cooking up in Thompson this year on the gridiron, and also have a one-on-one conversation with new Hillsboro-Central Valley head football coach, that is Joe Johnson. Then we'll go from the football field to the links for our senior spotlight with Avery Bartels from the Kindred girls golf team. We'll hear from the defending Class B girls champs and Oak Grove head coach on the girls side again is Laine Branter, and we'll hear from Fargo Davies girls golf head coach Lisa Schwinden. The last 2 years, the Eagles have won the individual title, so we'll hear from Coach Schwinden on that. But first up, let's get to our very own James Martins, who had a one-on-one conversation with Troy Mattern, and then we'll hear from Eric Olson from Sargent County on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show.
And once again, welcome back to the Your Live Event Coaches Show here for this week. Please be joined by the head football coach at Shanley High and Troy Mattern. And Troy, welcome to the program. Thanks for coming on. And it's got to be crazy, another year of fall football.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. We're excited to get going. It's, like we talked off air, it's crazy that we're at August already. It seems like we were just finishing up last year, getting kids onto the college scene. And, but yeah, here we are. It's an exciting time of year. Our kids are eager to get started. They work so extremely hard in the off season to get bigger, faster, and stronger. Now you put all that to test, and we'll see. And game's going to be here before we know it. So we got to get a lot of work done in the next 3 weeks.
Troy, it was a wild season in the top class of football last year in North Dakota, and it was a wild finish too, with Century, the number 8 seed, coming all the way to the final to meet you guys. Talk about the run last season to that title win.
Yeah, I think when we started last season, we knew there was a lot of parity across the state, and I think if you go and look at the scores across the state, there was a lot of good football games. And we don't expect anything different this year. But I think, a Century was a true test that you got to come ready to play no matter what, being the 8 seed. And I know when we played them at the time, they were 0-5 in the regular season. And we knew that was a scary football game. We only beat them 14-7 in the regular season. So, it just tells you the level of football at the highest level in North Dakota. There's a lot of good football teams, and every Friday night you got to bring it. Otherwise it's going to be it's going to make it for an interesting outcome. So our kids understand that. They understand that no matter who we play, we got to be ready. And I think they've really built that mindset into their heads as they move into the 2023 season.
Of course, moving into the 2023 season, who's coming back from last year? Who's stepping up that's new? Tell me about your team this year.
Yeah, so we have we're excited about our senior class. We had a lot of kids that contributed to our state championship of last season. Probably where we're most excited is on the defensive side of the ball. I think we return 8 starters. A lot of those kids are athletic kids that, just fly around. It starts with the Leininger twins. Got both Adam and Jordan Leininger back. And then we got Isaac Perkarovich, Landon Meyer. It will be in the mix of that, and Cam Allers is back. And then up front on the offensive side of the ball, we return 4 of our 5 linemen. So I think if you talk to any high school football coach across the state, if you could start somewhere, it's in the trenches. And we're really excited with both our offensive and defensive lines, just the experience we bring back. But and going back to your original question is, what do we bring back? I think we bring back experience. And in high school athletics, experience is probably the number one key going into a season. And I think any coach would agree with that. So we're excited with just the knowledge and experience we bring back with kids that have played a lot of snaps in high school football.
You talked about the defense, talked about the trenches coming back. What's it look like in the skill positions, quarterback, running back, wide receiver?
Yeah, so, we got 2 quarterbacks, both Landon Meyer and Carson Busick, that are really good quarterbacks. We're excited about them. Landon was our starting safety. Losing Michael Rosberg, we know we're not going to replace him. He was a very talented quarterback, a Division I quarterback, and he did a lot of great things for us. So we're just going to probably be a little bit different that wise. But, athletically, we're excited. Sam Oshak comes back. We got Jordan Leininger that comes back. We got Joe Flaherty, who was hurt most of last season at a receiver position. You got both Adam Leininger and Isaac Perkarovich back in the backfield. So, we're excited with the skilled positions that we bring back. Caden Chrisman's another one. He came out for football for the first time last year, was a basketball kid and had a great season. And, now he's starting to get a lot of college interest too. So just another dynamic athlete. So, yeah, we're excited from the skill position. And the biggest thing is just staying healthy with those kids.
Troy, it's going to be another fun schedule. I feel like the last couple of years there's been a lot more East-West crossover games added to the schedule. Your thoughts on some of the highlight games and some of the ones you circle for this year?
Yeah, in the past, those first two games used to be non-conference games, so you could kind of get your feet wet with your roster and create some depth charts. Now that's not the case. We play Bismarck High on the 25th, and that game counts. As you know, we're QRF rankings now, so it's a statewide schedule. It's a statewide ranking. Every game counts. So we got to come out of the gate playing fast, and every school is a good school. Every team at the highest level is a really good football team. We'll play them all, and we just got to be ready each and every Friday. So we're excited for the challenge. We're excited for the opportunity. We actually enjoy the scheduling. Actually, especially this year, we traveled out west, I think 3-4 times last year, where now those teams will travel to Fargo. So it makes it nice for us. We only leave Fargo twice this year. We'll go to Bismarck-Century once and Bismarck-St. Mary's. So the rest of the games are in Fargo, which is really nice for our fan base. So we're excited for that, just to have an opportunity to be closer to home.
You mentioned traveling to Fargo, fan base, high energy as a Deacon alum. I was in high school when they rolled out the new field for the first time back, I think, in about 2009, 2010. I remember charging the field. I remember the feeling of that. And it's a new chapter with a new field and a new track. First time ever that Shanley's going to have a track. How vital is that, and how fun is that to see that develop?
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement. And you're right, 2009 to now, that's a long time ago. And the turf was needed. It was wore out, and really it's just kind of an arms race. You look at 2009, Shanley was the first high school to have turf. And then now we're the last high school to get it replaced. So all these facilities, all these places we go to, it's state-of-the-art facilities, state-of-the-art turf. So we're glad to be in that conversation now with turf. I know they're just doing the finalizing touches on it. Hopefully they'll have it done this week, but we are expected to have it done for sure at our first game. The track won't be done, but it's going to be different there. We always had a unique field, where our fans were right on top of the sidelines. Now that separation could be good or bad. We added 35 feet. We shifted the field to the east. But we're really excited with the new turf, the new field, and our kids are excited about it. But now we got to get creative. Since the field's not done, we're actually going to practice at Horace High School this week. Coach McMahon's been great to us, getting us in at night. So we're going to practice there just so we can be on turf for our practice, just because of our offensive scheme. Landmarks are so important to us with the numbers and the hashes, and we want to make sure we're getting off to the right start. So we're excited to be able to practice on turf, and then hopefully next Monday get back home and be able to get onto our new turf.
Troy, it's an exciting season. I'd love to watch some Deacon football and the rest of the football powerhouses and up-and-comers around the state. It's going to be a fun season for sure. Anything else you want to mention to our viewers?
Yeah, it's just a fun time of year. And I think anybody that listens and is intrigued by high school football, just get out and watch. There's a lot of Division I talent, a lot of college athletic talent around the state of North Dakota this year. And if you enjoy football, get out, because these kids, they put on a good product, and they're fun to watch. They bring a lot of excitement. What is it to get in a high school game now? $8? There's not a lot of good activity that you can buy for $8. So I just encourage people to get out and watch these kids, because they work so extremely hard. And on your case, we appreciate all the high school notoriety you give us and all the coverage you get us. We appreciate that, because I know these kids really enjoy the coverage that you guys give us. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. And in less than a month, we'll be in West Fargo for West Fargo Shanley. It's going to be a great contest. Looking forward to it. That's Coach Troy Mattern, 7th season now. He's about to start on as head coach of the Shanley Deacons. Troy, thanks so much, and best of luck this year.
All right. Appreciate your time. Take care.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsboro, North Dakota. The Hillsboro Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsboro. More at 104.
Join us now on our Your Live event, a coaches show with the Sargent County Bulldogs. That's their head football coach, and Eric Olson. And Eric, I know you've probably been getting a ton of questions since last season, going from 11 to 9-man, the basics of what's different, what's going to change, what's similar for people out there. But I think from my point of view, as much as it's having 2 less on your team or 4 players total not on the football field, it's, hey, maybe new rivalries, maybe coaches that you've gone up against, but maybe haven't gone up against in over a decade from a Sargent County point of view. So what's the biggest transition going into the 2023 football season for you here, Eric?
There's going to be a lot of it. You mentioned, the couple less guys on the field. Frankly, the last 2 years, we were forced to put out some kids, some freshmen and sophomores on the field who probably physically weren't ready to play. And we had to put them out there because we had nobody else. So, the fact of being able to put out, we've got 35 guys out for football here this year, and that's everybody wants to play 9-man football now in our schools. So, no, the kids are excited about it. You talked about the rivalries, and like I had said before, it's been 17 years since we've played a Wyndmere, Lidgewood, a Hankinson. Our kids are no strangers to them because of all the other sports they compete against. Those kids. But I think the rivalry part is maybe just as exciting for our fans and maybe like the parents of our players who grew up playing against Wyndmere, Lidgewood, and Hankinson and Enderlin and Richland. So, there's a lot of excitement around, with this change. Kids are excited, fans are excited, coaches are excited. So, we're looking forward to a good year.
Yeah, gone are the days now of playing a rival like Lisbon, but as you mentioned, Wyndmere, Lidgewood, there's maybe no love lost when you bring the towns of Milner, Gwinner, Foreman together as well with that. What's the one thing you're most looking forward to, Eric? I know we kind of talked earlier in the month and into July about, just kind of a coaching bio a little bit, asking what are some of the players returning. And when I looked on the players returning, there's a lot of guys who either played football, basketball, did some type of sports the last couple of years, not just one, but the last couple of years at a varsity level. So I think from an outsider point of view, that has to be something as a coach that you're really looking forward to, guys who have varsity experience, whether it be on the football field or another sport, coming to play for your program this year.
Yeah, we got 10 seniors on the team here this year, and they've seen a lot of varsity time in the last couple of years. And like you said, not only football, but they've had a lot of success in basketball and some success in track and baseball. And so anytime that you get 10 seniors coming back to lead your team, I don't care what level you're at. There's excitement with that. And we've got, like I said, those seniors, they're excited about things and excited about the new change and, excited about getting out on maybe a little bit more open field in 9-man football to kind of show off their athleticism. And we're all excited to see that.
Take us through one or two players. I know you could probably talk about each of the 10 seniors. I know you got a couple juniors as well in a similar boat where they played 1, 2. This might be their third year going into it for varsity experience, Eric. But who are going to be a couple of guys early on the season? It doesn't start out any easier with Lamar Litchfield Marion for your first game and welcoming you back to 9-man football with the program that Coach Delabar has had out there for the Lobos. But as you get into region play and as you start getting into the dog days, so to speak, of late September, early October for football, who are some players you're going to rely on this year here, Eric?
Luke Martinson has kind of been number one. He hasn't played, or hasn't started the 3-4 years like some of the other kids, but he's kind of our leader. Grady Wieslander on the offensive and defensive lines, Isaac Harris on the offensive defensive lines. They've all played a lot of football. Josh Whittish, you've seen his name and athleticism on the basketball court, and he's going to make a lot of plays on the football field here too. The one kid that really going from 11 to 9-man that I think is going to be exciting to watch is Nick Hansen with his speed and elusiveness. We saw that at the end of the year last year where teams, frankly, they weren't kicking to Nick Hansen, in special teams, and and I think he's going to have a tremendous season here this year. So like I said, there's a lot of kids with a lot of playing experience, and they're excited to get back on the field. And yeah, you mentioned that when we see the schedule right away, like I told someone before, we'll find out exactly where we're at when we play the Lemoore Lobos in week 1 coming up here, because they've kind of set the standard, in this area for the last, 3-4 years with the success that they've had. Andy's done a great job, and they've had a lot of athleticism and a lot of studs go through the last couple of years.
Well, take us through that first game here, Eric, whether it is going up against Lobos, as you mentioned, maybe it would have been a region game against a Hankinson or a Warbirds team, but going from a different region, going from a different class, finding something a little bit new, win, lose, or draw for 48 minutes of football on a Friday night. What do you want to see from your guys that you can take from week 1 going into week 2? What's one thing as a coach that you want to say, okay, we're fine in 9-man. Sure, there might be 1 or 2 little tweaks that we got to make, like any season opener going from week 1 to week 2. But what's the biggest thing you want to see from your club on that season opener?
I think on the field wise, we were able to go up to UND for a team camp here this year, just to get that the feel of 9-man, the open field. I think it's tackling is going to be the biggest thing. We have to open field tackle to have success, because if you're not making tackles in the open field, their school song is playing, and they're celebrating in the end zone. So, but we were able to scrimmage a couple teams, South Border and Rockford, who frankly, they kind of told me that they were looking to be at the top of their regions as well. And I think, just defensively, taking the proper angles, just because, like you said, there are 4 less guys on the field. So we have to, once you get to the outside, there's going to be a lot of open field for the playmakers to run around in. So I think those are just getting used to that wide of space. I think especially defensively, and making sure that we cover our assignments and cover our ground. Hopefully week 1, we can see that and take and learn from that if we do make mistakes.
And as a coach here, Eric, something a little different this year, 9-man, instead of 8 regions, it's 4. Instead of last year in 9-man football, about half the games were non-region games, the other half were. So it was kind of interesting talking with football coaches throughout the year. But this year, 4 regions, kind of like what you had last year, in 11B. A lot of games, almost every game on your schedule counts towards if you're going to make the playoffs or not with a win in your respective region. So how fun is that, knowing that, when you get to a Friday night, as much as you want to play and stay healthy and get these region games going with some of your future rivals, as you mentioned, but knowing that, hey, a win can really elevate yourself one step closer to the playoffs, where a loss earlier in the year doesn't eliminate you, but it does put some work, ahead of you to maybe have to string 2 or 3 games together to maybe, get into the postseason.
Yeah, it's really going to be a new test and different test every week. And it starts out right away with Lemoore, and then we have a non-region game. But no, you try to kind of figure out, okay, who are going to be those top teams, to put yourself in a playoff position. And I, especially traveling to some of these places, and it'll be all brand new, for these kids and for most of us as coaches. I'm getting old enough where, we did back in 2006 when we were playing 9-man, we did play most of these teams. So that's starting to age me a little bit, and my forehead is starting to show that a little bit. But no, it's going to be exciting. For me, just getting familiar with some of these teams, trying to scout them a little bit in the off season to see what they've got coming back. It's been kind of fun to kind of figure out, okay, where do we fit amongst these teams? Are we ahead of this team, below this team? As far as, I really think that our team coming back, we may have the most experience in the region. That doesn't mean anything on the field, but I think I'm excited about that aspect, that all the kids that we've got coming back that have experience, I think that may bode well for us, in some of these contests with some of the teams.
Well, thing for you, Eric, anytime as a football coach, what's your most favorite thing on a Friday night? Whether it's August, you get into October, as a football coach, what's one thing that you enjoy most leading up to kickoff or game or anything of that nature? I know sometimes fans ask you certain things or parents ask you certain things, but from a broadcasting point of view, every town, every region has their own little, how they lead up into a game. Some might have a cannon in the left part of the football field for a touchdown. Others, there's a big scoreboard or how the field gets mowed, or you do certain things leading up to the week. But what is your favorite thing as a football coach?
I think for me, it's the behind the scenes stuff. It's the bus rides, the kids and their interactions with each other on the bus rides, the locker rooms. Those are the stuff that the kids remember down the road. Like you said, every place has got kind of their own little nuance. We had a parent shoot off some fireworks after a game last year, and I wasn't expecting it, and kind of scared the hell out of me when it happened. So we may have recruited that parent to continue to do that here this year. No, there's so many little things when it comes to Friday night high school football, and I stress to the kids, especially the seniors, that there's a last in everything, so enjoy it. It's a grind. It's a lot of hard work. I'm not going to lie about that, but I think there's a lot of memories that can be treasured by the kids, the coaches, the fans, the parents. So, it's there's a whole lot of little things. I can't really put my finger on one thing, but it's everything as a collection.
Eric, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck this season, and we look forward to seeing you in 9-man football coming up here in Region 1 throughout the year.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Chase.
Hey growers, when working on your water management solutions, call Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. They are your water management contractor, helping you with tile drainage plans, service drainage plans, or both. Remember, water management is a lifetime investment. Call Chad 701-430-0182 to get your water problem solved. For more information, follow Chad's Excavating on Facebook. For tile drainage and service plans, call 701-430-0182. Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
Do you want that new boat? Are you building onto your home? Maybe you want the new camper or ATV. Dakota Heritage Bank can help you. This is Dustin Nagel, president at Dakota Heritage Bank Hillsboro location. You can visit with me or our other loan officers to help with loans and lines of credit from Dakota Heritage Bank. We are serving you with locations in North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. Dakota Heritage Bank offers financial services you expect with a local perspective. dhbanknd.com. Dakota Heritage Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
There's more at 104. Hillsboro, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsboro and see why there's more at 104.
Let's head back to the football field as Joe Lancello sits down with Brady Schwab from Thompson, and then we'll hear from Joe Johnson with HCV football with our own James Martins. But first up, it's Joe and Brady.
Welcome back to the Year Live Event Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation. I'm Joe Lancello, and joined by Brady Schwab, the athletic director and football coach of the Thompson Tommies this year. And how was it that you wound up in the football coaching position?
I'd been there in the past, and we had an opening, and not many applicants out there these days, and I was excited to get back into it. A couple of years away from it, and you always miss the game, you miss the kids, those types of things. So it's a welcome back.
Unfortunately, when the last coach left, I think he also took away a one-star player and one fellow who could possibly be a star player for you.
Yeah. They made decisions for their family, which, will work out for them. And we wish them the best. And Jake was a good athlete. But, we've got kids in camp, or we'll have kids in camp here that are hoping to fill that void. And we'll look different than we did in the past few years. But, we're just excited that we've got kids that want to go out and strap the gear on and go play the game.
And we're recording this before the start of pre-fall football practice. Looking over the 2D charts that I had from the season, it seems like there will be a lot of replacements needing to be made in both the offensive and defensive line and linebacker.
Yeah, we'll have just a very few number of kids back from last year that played, and some of the kids that played key spots last year have decided not to come out this year. But again, we've got kids that want to be out there, and that's what we want as coaches, is to take kids that want to be out there and try to help them improve and teach some skills along the way. So we'll see who shows up here on Thursday, and the kids that do, our coaches will coach them up, and we'll do the best we can, and we'll look forward to working with them every day.
So it's probably a little too early to see what the pluses and minuses would be of the Tommies in 2023.
Yeah, we had camp last week, our in-house camp, and that's more of an install piece than just kind of seeing who's around and who wants to be involved in what. So yeah, it's until you strap on the shells and start playing a little bit, it's tough to see who's going to fit where. You've got an idea, but we'll have to move some kids around and get them hopefully into spots where we can be successful and they can be successful.
You mentioned, oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, I got it back now. You mentioned things would be a little bit different as far as offense and defense goes, as far as what kind of formations and setups you'll use.
Yeah, it'll depend upon, again, who's there on Thursday. Obviously, changing out your quarterback and changing out your line and some of the skill guys, you got to find what works best for the kids that you have. It's tough to run a year in and year out system unless you have 50, 60, 70 kids every year. When you're operating in those low to mid 30s, you kind of have to see what you have for skill sets and work within that. So we'll see. Like I said, Thursday we're excited for kids to be out, and the kids that are out we'll work with, and we'll get something installed by the time we match up with the Spoilers on the 17th.
That is a Thursday, by the way, not the usual Friday opener.
Yeah. It's a little earlier. It's before school for both teams. I think the thought process maybe was give those kids an opportunity, since they start so early in August, give them another weekend to maybe do stuff before the school year kicks off and you get into your normalcy.
Okay. And the home opener for the Tommies will be on Friday the 25th when Park River comes to town.
Correct. Yep. And we'll play a 9-game schedule this year, all within the region except Northern Cass will come up from Region 1 somewhere in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I see Oak Grove is off the schedule and Hillsboro CV is off your schedule too.
Yeah, a little bit of a change there. Oak Grove decided to just play JV this year, not have varsity, which bumped Hillsboro-Central Valley down to Region 1. And then Cavalier, because of the success points in 9-man the past 4 years, bumps up for the next 2 years. So they're actually in our region, in Region 2, in place of Hillsboro-Central Valley. And then HCV moves down to Region 1.
And Cavalier was runner-up in 9-man, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, the last 4 years, there's a part of the formula with the smaller schools. If you have success over a certain number of years continuous, then they bump you up. And Cavaliers we've locked horns with them a number of times, and their program and the history within their program is second to none. And it's difficult with a smaller school to move up, but Coach Laxdal up there will have them ready to go, and they will do just fine at this level, regardless of the number of kids that they have out. So it's not a they won't be a weak link for sure.
And we will have that game on the 25th with Park River on yourliveevent.com, one of several Thompson sporting events we'll have on yourliveevent.com during the course of the year. And Brady, I also understand that not only are you the football coach this year, you will also be the basketball coach for the boys, replacing Randy George.
Yeah, Coach George, he was with us for over 10 years, and he's got younger kids, and having been in it as a head coach for 25 years, sometimes you just need a break. And he gets to be dad a little bit. He's still going to help out. He's still going to coach some junior high basketball. He's still going to do some elementary basketball, and he's our boys golf coach. So he's not getting out of coaching. It's just sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of a reset and focus on some different things. And then, yeah, we'll get going with that, once we get through with our football season, and we'll get those kids that don't participate in football, we'll get them hopefully in the weight room and doing some of those things for basketball. And, the nice thing is we'll have some of those kids from the fall into the winter, and they'll understand some of the expectations with work ethic and some of those things. And hopefully get some of those guys that don't play as fall sport into that gear earlier rather than later.
Okay. And we look forward to seeing the Thompson Tommies during the course of the 23-24 school year. Boy, it sounds odd going with the numbers that high, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting there.
Yeah. Brady Schwab, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you down the line.
Appreciate it, Joe. Brady
Schwab, athletic director and football coach and boys basketball coach at Thompson High School, and we'll be back with more in just a moment.
Hillsboro Economic Development Committee provides information and support for small businesses. Experience Hillsboro. More at 104.
Here on the Your Live Event Coaches Show, out here live at practice, or out here at practice at Hillsboro-Central Valley, at the Central Valley campus. And please be joined by the head coach, first-year head coach, but certainly not first year to the program, in Pastor Joe Johnson. And Coach, it's a beautiful night to take in some football practice and see how things are going. Tell us about Hillsboro-Central Valley football 2023.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming out. And we're obviously excited about the year. It's been a big transition. Of course, we have a little bit of a new look this year between an all-new coaching staff and a new region assignment. And we've graduated 34 seniors in the last 2 years. So in a lot of ways, we have a new look from what Hillsboro-Central Valley football has been. And yet at the same time, we've got this rich history and tradition, and we have continuity and congruence between what the program has been and what the program is now. And since being hired, of course, it's been a lot of work in the background and in the office and getting the coaches in place and designing and redesigning plays and practices. And it feels good to be on the field. We've had 8. This is our 8th practice, and we're ready to go. We feel like we're making progress and feel good about the guys that we've got coming back, and we're excited to get going.
Coach, tell us here real quick about your transition from just being a coach to being the coach. How's that feeling for you?
Yeah, I'm excited. And, football has always been a big part of my life. As you guys know, I grew up as a coach's kid. And so we've always had kind of this meshing of family life and football life. And so been involved in football all of these years. Of course, I played through college and coached for 10 years, but then involved in the sport in a variety of other ways. But, one of the keys is that I'm not doing it alone, that I've got really good guys that I've got hired as assistants who certainly bring a lot of football knowledge, but even more importantly are really good people and teaching the life lessons that we want to teach these young men through the game of football.
Coach, real quick, let's take a look at the schedule. You open up with a renewed rivalry with Mayport CG. Tell us about the rest of the schedule.
Yeah, we're excited about this renewed rivalry with Mayport CG, and with this new region assignment, the schedule looks just a little bit different. every week is tough. It's a good region, to say the least, and yet we're taking it one game at a time. So we've got our sights set on what are we doing in practice today to prepare for week 1, and then we'll take week 2 as it comes, week 3 as it comes, and we're excited about it. Real quickly, those first 3 weeks are we go from Mayport CG to Lisbon and a home game, and then we go down to Kindred after that, up Northern Cass, and like I say, we're focused on week 1. We're focused on what can we do today to make ourselves a better team.
Coach, it's going to be a fun season. Of course, you can catch all the games on your live event. And anything else you want to mention to our viewers?
Yeah, just I think a few different things, and that is we're excited about returning players. We're excited about the coaches. Real quickly, we've got Trevor Kittleson on board as a defensive coordinator. We've got Gary Suker as one of our coaches, and Nick Preston, and Andrew Grothman, and Brian Schatz, and those guys bring a total of 15 state and national championships as players. So their football knowledge is really good. But like I said, we went after those guys not because of their football knowledge, but because they're good guys. So trying to build this tone of the program of teaching life lessons, and that there's something bigger going on than football. Empowering our seniors that have a lot of experience, and the seniors have selected for a slogan, Hillsboro-Central Valley football, more than a game. We're proud of those seniors. We're empowering them, and we expect a lot of them, and we're expecting to have a good year.
Should be a wonderful season. That's first-year head coach, Pastor Joe Johnson for Hillsboro-Central Valley football, joining us. Can catch all the games this season on your live event. Coach, thanks so much. Best of luck this year.
You bet. Thank you very much for coming out.
Hey, look, I found Bigfoot.
How tall is he?
What? No, not that Bigfoot. The Bigfoot Trail.
The Bigfoot Trail?
Yeah, it's the Trail County Parks and Walking Challenge. All you have to do is visit at least 10 of 12 parks listed on the clue sheet, answer questions about each park, and return the completed sheet to the Trail District Health Unit by September 30th.
Do I get anything if I complete the challenge?
Yes, you get a free t-shirt and other participation prizes. Get your sheet on the Trail District Health Unit website and get your feet moving on the Bigfoot Trail.
Bank of North Dakota wants you to be confident when it's time to make student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident to calculate the maximum amount of student loan debt that is recommended based on your career choice. You can also learn how to apply for financial aid and get tips to cut education expenses. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident today.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits including time off available from day one, American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
We'll close out the show with 3 more interviews, all from area girls golf teams. Oak Grove head coach Laine Branter and Fargo Davies head coach Lisa Schwinden are coming up, and they have a lot of talent coming back between those two programs. We'll hear from them in a moment, but first, let's dive into our senior spotlight with 3-time state Class B individual champion North Dakota. That's Avery Bartels from Kindred. Well, now time for our senior spotlight. And first up, when it's still nice out, you got to go outside and go to the course. So join us here is Kindred girls golfer. That is Avery Bartels as she steps into her senior season. And Avery, does it even feel right to say your senior season? How quickly has the last couple of years gone for you?
It is honestly crazy. Like being a little 7th grader, you never really think it's going to come this fast, but it honestly has come really fast. And it's kind of crazy that after in like 7 weeks, it's all going to be over for my high school golf career.
Let's talk about your high school career, both from, off of Kindred's girls golf team, but also starting with Kindred girls golf team, because it is the senior season here. You've been a multi-time medalist to win and be on the podium at the state tournament. Just not too long ago in 2021, the team won the state tournament as well. So what's the expectations first from a team standpoint, Avery, heading into this season?
Well, the goal is definitely to win another state championship. And I really believe we can, because the amount of improvement I've seen just in the qualifying rounds for these girls is incredible. a lot of them worked really hard over the season to improve their scores, and it's really shown. So I'm really excited for how that's going to go. And I know that if we can get 2 scores in the 80s and a score in the 90s, I feel like we can definitely do it. So I'm excited.
Talk about individually here. I mean, you've won championships before. I know that's going to be your goal and expectation as well. But is there a certain number that you want to shoot under when you go on a particular round or a particular day of golf here your senior season?
The goal this season is going to be to shoot 68 at least once, because I've shot 69 a couple times and I really just want to break that barrier. But the goal is definitely going to be to finish off on a high note and win my 4th individual title. And it's obviously not going to come easy. None of them have come easy. So that'll definitely be the end goal, but it's going to be a fun journey till then.
Take us through a little bit here. A couple of years ago was COVID. You played just pretty much one state tournament that was out, in Bismarck, Mandan area, kind of got the whole state together. What is it the last couple of years in your high school career? What have you noticed most just about your growth in the game of golf here, Avery?
Well, I definitely feel like when Emily St. Aubin started winning all those championships, that really determined me to just go out and beat her, because I really wanted to have a state championship to my name. And that really drove me to improve a lot. And you have just seen that that's happened to other girls too. The scoring average for winning state has gone so far down, and it's kind of crazy how everyone's improved so much. And I'm really happy to see that, because now we have more junior golf in the area of North Dakota. So you have more competitiveness locally, instead of, I always had to go to Minnesota when I was younger just because, so I didn't have to play against 2 other people. So it's really nice to see that these girls can have competition in their hometowns.
Take us through it a little bit, both as we mentioned the high school part, but off the high school part, as you mentioned, the girls' golf season in the state is not too terribly long with where we live, but that means the summer is filled with opportunities to get on the golf course, take part in some tournaments. What has been 1 or 2 of your favorite tournaments outside of, trying to compete for a state championship in North Dakota here, Avery?
My favorite tournament I played this summer is definitely the Minnesota-Wisconsin Cup. So it's a Ryder Cup between Minnesota and Wisconsin, and you have to qualify to be on the team. And it was my first year being on the team this year, and it was the most fun I've ever had in a golf tournament, because our first round was a 4-ball match against 2 Wisconsin girls, and it was so much fun. We ended up losing, but it was good. And then I ended up winning my singles match the next day, and we tied Wisconsin overall, but we retained the cup because we had won the previous year, so that was fun. I think the girls have won 13 in a row. So that's really good. Yeah. And I think overall it's 12-12-2 for the record. So it's really close, but it's a really fun tournament. And I think the second most fun tournament that I played in was the Minnesota Women's Am up at Baker National in Medina, Minnesota, because I got to stay with 2 of my closest friends in an Airbnb, and I spent a lot of time with them. It was a really hard course. I played good, and it was just one of the most fun experiences I've had, because it was a really challenging distance too. It's what I'm going to play in college, and it's more like a college course I can play. So it was a 3-day long tournament. Got a lot of experience from it, learned a lot. So it was a lot of fun.
You mentioned college, North Dakota State women's golf commit. What made NDSU just be the right fit? Because again, I'm sure you get asked it a ton. How do you continue to find ways to golf in North Dakota when it's the winter, and particularly during the last couple of winters that we had, Avery? But you've seen local players do really well, both at the college level and go on to play a chance at the pros and everything else. So what made NDSU for you, Avery, just be the right fit?
Well, I visited there after my golf season last year. And the second I walked on campus, I've been there before, and I was a little iffy because I've been a big UND fan all my life. But I was just I really, really love this place. It seemed pretty perfect. And I met with the team. I met with all the girls, and it was just instant click. Got along with all of them. It was amazing. And obviously, I really like the coach. I think he's a great guy. And the other recruits coming in with my class are amazing. And I couldn't be more excited for when I get to go.
How fun is it to, be so close, even though your matches, so to speak, or your tournaments aren't going to be too close from Fargo, but how fun is it to have family and friends be so close to you as well here, Avery?
I think it's going to be great, because at least we have 1 home tournament at Oxbow. So I hope a few number of people will come out and watch and support, because it's a really fun tournament to come out and watch. But I'm really excited. Like you said, we don't always play North Dakota, so I'm going to go play courses that I would have never even thought of playing. And my mom is definitely really happy I'm staying 30 minutes from home as well. So
Hey, Avery, favorite club? Is it the putter? Are you talking something with the irons? Is it a particular driver? Where are we going here? If you had just one club that you could take with you, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know. My putter has been really good to me lately. It's been helping me a lot, but I've been hitting my pitching wedge probably the best I've hit in a pretty long time. And my driver has been behaving lately. So that's always good too.
For someone who comes into the game of golf, what's a question that you get asked the most? Because I know during the summers, you're going to be on the golf course in some capacity, playing around, working on your game. So if someone's new into the game of golf, what's a question or two that maybe has been the most commonly asked to you? Is it about how do I not have a slice? Is it about, trying to have a decent chip because my chips always go 100 yards the other way of what I really want? What's the question that gets brought up to you, Avery?
Well, I feel like definitely girls struggle with putting and like how specifically to read the green. So I've helped a couple girls just with like that type of thing. And then definitely, like you said, slicing and controlling the ball with your driver, because it obviously goes the furthest, but it's the most amount of risk just because it can go wayward with a millimeter off of what it should be. So I've definitely helped some girls with that. And I think just like improving your driving game and your short game is the biggest thing, because if you can put the ball on the fairway, it doesn't matter if you pull your 6-iron 50 yards left. If you can get up and down, you get a par no matter what. So
final thing for Avery before he lets you go, favorite thing you're looking forward to this season, just not even on the golf course, not even just competition in sports. Maybe it is, but what's one or two things you're looking forward to the most during your final year for the Kindred Vikings?
I think definitely just seeing all my golf friends for like one last time, because I'm not going to see all of them in college. I'm not going to experience the same team again. So I'm just really excited to go to every course one last time, have more opportunities, and just I'm so excited for senior season.
Avery, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck on the links and also your senior year at Kindred.
Thank you, Chase. I appreciate it.
We continue on the Your Live Event Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsboro Economic Development Commission. I'm Joe Lancello, and joined by Laine, the coach of the defending Class B State Girls Champions in golf, the Oak Grove Rovers. Laine, congratulations on that win from last year. You've only had a couple of practices so far as we record this. How many girls do you have back from last year?
Well, we have 5 of the 6 back. Last year we had a pretty young team overall with only 1 senior on the varsity. The other 5 were 2 sophomores, an 8th grader, and 2 7th graders, and those girls are all back. So the girls are excited for this upcoming season. As you said, we're only a couple practices in, but the weather's been good. It's nice to have golf in the fall. Quite frankly, I think this is the 3rd year now of it being in the fall. And so it's nice to have golf in the fall, and the girls are enjoying it. And we've got 22 girls out for golf this year. Actually, I was just talking to other coaches. It looks like we're going to have 120 girls out for golf in our region. So we've had to start changing things up in our region a little bit to accommodate getting all the girls to be able to play.
And what you mentioned about the ages of the girls that you have coming back,
yep,
obviously younger a year ago. So that kind of proves the adage that if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Absolutely. And a lot of the girls this summer, we had a lot of girls that, didn't make the varsity last year that played in a lot of the events here in, Fargo and surrounding areas. So there's a lot of interest in the younger girls in particular about playing golf, which is really fun to see.
Who are those girls that are coming back? I know you know 2 of them pretty well.
Yep. So the 2 juniors, which are 2 co-captains, are Josie Branter and Lauren Holstead. And they both have been, this is now each of theirs 3rd year. They didn't have golf as 7th grade because that was COVID year, but they've now, or 8th grade, they've now been playing varsity for several years. And have both, shown consistent improvement every year, which is, fun because they're both pretty dedicated golfers. And then we have now a freshman in Josie Geiger, who this will be her 3rd year, if you will, playing. She started as playing a little bit varsity, a 7th grader, and then consistently all of last year as on the varsity team. And then Sylvie Brantner and Ellie Zuger, both were 7th graders last year that made the varsity. So we've got, several returning girls. I think 3 of our girls placed in the top 25. Lauren, Josie, and Sylvie all placed, I think, between 15th and 25th last year at the state. And so, 3 returners that played very well at state and had a pretty good solid year. And Josie Geiger and Ellie had, showed continued improvement and had several good rounds last year. But, it's a challenge sometimes for girls to put it together for 2 days, and hopefully they'll be able to continue to do that this year.
Are there areas of the team that you do very well in, say, off the green or putting or getting out of the sand, things like that?
Yeah. Well, as is the case with most kids, whether it's boys or girls, it's a lot more fun to go hit balls on the range and pound to drivers. So, the team's pretty good. A lot of the girls hit it actually quite far, and they have spent a lot of time in the range. So what we spend a lot of time on in practicing is chipping and putting, because that's where, as I tell them, 70% of our practice time should be spent within 25 yards of the green. And so that's where we spend a lot of our time. And we're very fortunate to practice the Fargo Country Club that has a par 3 course. So we actually spend a lot of time going and playing the par 3 so we can work on our short games, because that's by far the area that if you become good at your short game, you can improve the most. Doesn't matter if you hit your drive perfectly all the time. If you can get up and down, you can score.
You hit on a question I was just going to ask. I am not a golfer myself. I even stink at mini golf. So I really have never had any idea of what goes on at a golf team's practice.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of gone over that, where you spend more than half the time on chipping and putting.
Yeah. Our practices, I guess, every coach does it differently. Being a golfer myself and someone who's taught the game for quite a long time, I spend a lot of my time teaching proper form and basic things like, even grip, stance, alignment. If you don't have a proper grip and you're not aligned very well, you're not going to be able to play golf very well. So we got to kind of start at the basics. And so that's kind of where I spend a lot of my time, is in helping them. And then we also try to spend a lot of time just talking through strategy. And, you don't always have to hit your driver. The courses we play are around 5,000 yards on average. Some are a little bit shorter and some are a little bit longer. But you don't really have to hit it that far. And so kind of learning course management is another important aspect of golf to be able to improve your scoring.
Do you spend a lot of time before a meet just kind of walking over the course just to...
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Typically, we'll do that either like the day before or in a lot of cases on the drive up to the golf course. Especially now with 5 returning players, they've played all the courses we're going to play. And our state tournament is actually hosted by Northern Cass this year at Mapleton at Maple River Golf Course. So it's a course that all the girls have played several times, and so it's more about walking through each holes and helping them understand how to play it and strategically what to do, that we will spend time typically on the drives when we're going to the golf course.
And I'm guessing, unlike, say, pro events where they move the hole for each round, you don't do that in high school.
Yeah, no, we don't, except for the state tournament, which is 2 days where you play the same course twice, and they'll set the pins each day. Every other tournament's just 1 day, and you're playing the hole once, and that's it. So there could be, and I say that some of our courses are 9-hole courses where you play it twice, but we're not moving pins between nines. You just keep playing the same. You just keep going. So you might play the same hole twice, but it's the pin's in the exact same location both times.
Ah, okay. And the region tournament, is that also going to be at Maple River?
Yep. So typically, you have a region course, and when you host state, you typically is the region that if you have your region event at the tournament where a state's being hosted. So we're hosting this year, so our region we're fortunate. Last year it was in Minot, so I think it's Region 4 out in Minot. They were able to play their region at Minot and then host it at state as well.
Laine Branter is the coach of the Fargo Oak Grove girls golf team, the defending Class B state champions. Laine, who do you see as teams to beat, teams that will challenge you in the upcoming season?
Well, I mean, I would definitely say, we'll be a good team, but I don't know that I would by any stretch call us favorites. With graduating Sophie, who was by far our leading scorer last year. So we have a lot of work to do to kind of replace her scores from last year. But Kindred is perennial. I think they finished third last year. They won it the year before. They have, the 3-time defending state champion in Avery Bartels, who's a spectacular player and a great kid. And so they will definitely, just by virtue of her, she shoots literally, around or under par every time. So they'll have an advantage with her skills right off the bat. So Kindred will be good. In our region, Carrington is always a pretty good team. But this year with all the other girls, between Castleton has 23 girls out, so a lot of schools are having a lot more girls play. So it'll be, fun to see in our region, just the competition. 3 years ago, we had 3 teams that could field a varsity team. And now we'll probably have 7 this year. So that's really exciting, just from the growth of golf. Out west, in other regions, Heart River has won state several times in the last 10 years. Kirby Robb does a great job with the Heart River team. I think their course is hopefully going to be usable this year. They had to redo their course last year, so it was out, but they have several players. They'll be tough to beat. Again this year, there's always a few teams as well, like Linton always has a good team. I think North Star last year had several good players. So there's going to be a lot of good teams that will be out there for us to try to compete with this year. But I think this year it's pretty, you could see any of several teams, if they get hot, make a run at the state tournament.
Okay, now your first meet will have happened by the time we air this on the 9th at Mayport CG. Friday, you'll be at Central Cass at the Cottonwood Golf Course, and then Monday, a home meet at Fargo Country Club on the 14th.
Yep, absolutely. We start practice on the 1st, and we try to pack in several tournaments before school starts, because, in girls golf, in golf just in general, whether it's boys or girls, meets usually start in the morning and you miss a full day. And so we've been very thankful that our seasons get to start pretty early, so we can get at least 4, 5, 6 tournaments in before school starts. And so we don't start until next Wednesday, but then we'll have 4 tournaments in a week. So it'll be the girls will get their tournament play in right away, and it'll be good to see kind of how they're doing and how they're reacting to the tournaments.
Okay, we look forward to see how the Grovers do this year in defense of their state Class B girls golf championship. Laine, Branter, thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate your time.
And we'll have more on the Your Live Event Coaches Show after this.
Part of our YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, we hit to the links now, talking with Fargo Davies girls head coach, that is Lisa Schwinden. And Lisa, for you guys, Fargo Davies, both from an individual standpoint and a team standpoint, has had a couple really solid seasons, back-to-back years where you've had the individual champ on the Class A girls side in your clubhouse. So it has to be fun, but also have to have some expectations when you are bringing back both Lexi Bartley, the 2021 individual medalist, and the 2022 individual medalist in Rose Solberg. So what's kind of the expectations heading into this year here for you, Lisa?
I think we've got such a great experienced team that's had success. Expectations, we've really tried to not really have any, because, it's golf. We know that, we can't control scores. We can't control how we compete. We can't control, how well our opponents play or how the rest of our team plays. So we really think of it just as one event at a time. One tournament at a time is all we do. It's all we prepare for. And we hope that with the preparation we do and the experience we have, that we are going to have success. And we've been lucky to have that the last couple of years.
Let's go through some of the individuals, and the 2 that we'll start with again are the 2 that the medalists talk about. The one that's going to be a senior heading to Northwest Missouri State, and Lexi Bartley again. What does she bring just to this club in terms of the underclassmen or those who are kind of getting into the varsity system? What can she provide both as a teammate, but also what does she do that makes her stand out as a golfer?
She's just a great leader. She leads by example. She works hard. She is not the type of player who gets upset or you ever have to have a problem with about, what kind of attitude she has. She's always solid. She treats people with respect. She's fun. She's just a great player. It's so nice for her to have committed and know what she's doing next year too now, because that's one thing off her plate she doesn't have to worry about. We've all talked about making that decision is hard for a 17 or 18-year-old kid to decide what they're going to do for the next 4 years of their life. Is really can be a lot of stress. So being done with that, having that behind her, she's just going to relax and play golf now, and that's when she plays her best. It's going to be fun to see how well she plays this year. Rose then Rose is a sophomore, but brings a lot of leadership and a lot of experience and maturity to our team too. So between the two of them, they're good friends. They support each other, but they are competitive too. So it's great to have two players that kind of go back and forth, and who's going to be number one, who's going to be number two, and it goes back and forth each tournament, depending on who goes low that day. But they both bring a great sense of work ethic, of just quality play, and showing the younger kids exactly what our program is about.
And then another girl in Nora Benson. What does she provide as another stable golfer, stability, teammate, both on the course and, so to speak, in the clubhouse here, Lisa?
Yeah, she can go low. She had a fabulous 2 years ago at state tournament. She played phenomenal. She's just got a solid swing, good player. If she can put it together, she can have a really, really phenomenal year, and she can be kind of up with those players too. She's got that potential. So hopefully this is the year that it just kind of falls in line for her. But it's a process, right? We want to not have our best round tomorrow. We want it in the future. So just still letting her mature a little bit, but she will certainly be one of our top players.
You hear this, whether it's probably from a 15-year-old to a 60-year-old to somewhere in between, how you always want to play better as the summer goes. If you're just a scratch golfer, just a fun to get out on the course, but also from a high school standpoint, you don't want to be playing your best golf on August 15th. You want to be playing your best golf typically the first weekend of October in the season. So how do you talk about, just consistently getting a little bit better every day, whether it's on the range, whether you are participating in a tournament? What's the, so to speak, secret sauce, if you will, Lisa, on how you can get a little bit better throughout the season in golf?
Well, that's a great question. And if I had a really great answer to that, I'd probably be a better coach. But, it's such a different season for us, too. You come in off of the summer, girls have been playing a lot. They're on summer vacation. There's less stress. There's no school. Just a way different than we get to the season and we're missing school. They're making things up. They've got other obligations. So what we try to do really is we try to push a lot of qualifying and playing in the beginning before school starts. And then once school has started, our practices are shorter. They emphasize specific things. We don't spend hours and hours grinding on the driving range because they've got other stresses. They've got other things going on. They know what they're doing. They just need a short practice that is going to focus on specific things. So we actually do less practice once school starts, and we trust that they've done the work in the summer, and now it's just time to play. So I think that's helped us instead of getting people really stressed out and nervous and making them more tired as the season goes on. We try to take the foot off the gas just a little bit and relax and just play the rest of the season.
The one thing I have noticed with golf in the years past, as much as it is a team sport, particularly when you're bringing up all the final scores and seeing where your team's going to land, it is an individual sport too, in terms of having the expectations from your side, what you want to accomplish, making sure maybe you're doing the extra work in terms of some practices outside of the normal day-to-day stuff here, Lisa. So how much of a balance in high school are you talking what someone's individual goals might be, trying to shoot, under 80 for the first time in their career, or trying to be the best they can be, and also being a good teammate at the end of the day too when they're on the course? How much do you talk about that back and forth?
Well, it's funny, maybe not funny, but one of the things we love about golf, is that you are supporting, you are specifically going to support not only your teammates, but your opponents. And you see that all the time in girls golf. The players we compete against, we love. We're friends with them. We're friends with the other coaches. We want everybody to do their best. We push that, and the girls are on board with that too. At any given time, somebody in a group will shoot a great shot, and everybody in that group will applaud them. That's what we love about golf, and that's one of the things that we pride ourselves in, really. And we do that for teammates too. Team-wise, we really can't control what our teammates do, what they shoot. All you can do is control your to at least not even what you shoot, but how you prepare and what you do and how you react. So we focus on the individual primarily because that's all you can do. You know, the team stuff just comes along. Same with individual awards. You know, we don't ever say, okay, you know, the goal is to shoot a certain score. The goal is for us is to just hit the next shot and to do the best you can on that shot. And if you can come at the end of the day and say, did you prepare for every shot and do the best you could on every shot? And you can say yes, then we can say you've had a really successful day and your score may or may not reflect that. So that's what we push no matter what. The team scores just happen. You know, it's a little bit of a great dynamic for us because we've got such a competitive team. We've had such a great team in the past where you really have to play your best to even get on the team, which is nice. But things you can't control, it's a great opportunity for us to be able to teach that because of the situation that we're in.
And you mentioned things you can't control is weather. You know, you're going to start in August and it's 90 degrees and humid, and you go to October, it could almost be snowing. It could be a Canadian northern, 50-mile-an-hour breeze coming at you one time, and then it's playing your back the next time. So how much does weather in the game of golf truly impact someone's round, someone's final score, depending on how the course is playing that day? Are you getting a 30-mile-an-hour wind gust? Is it 40 degrees compared to 90 degrees in August here, Lisa? How much does weather have an impact on the season?
Well, we've been so lucky the last couple of years. 3-4 years ago when State was at Wahpeton, it was like 40 degrees and I wore a parka and I've joked about that ever since. And I luckily have not had to get the parka out the last 2 years. Last 2 years, state tournament has been absolutely fabulous. Warm weather. The year we played Minot, I didn't even bring enough short sleeve shirts because I was not expecting that. So it was way warmer than I was planning for. We've just been really lucky. I feel bad for the players that play in the spring and the terrible weather they get stuck with when 90% of our meets are fabulous. You know, by the time we get to end of September, we usually have a couple meets that are, it seems like it's always at Maple River, where there's 30, 35, 40 mile-an-hour winds. And then there's always a tournament where there's some rain. And those are just, other great obstacles for us to overcome. Golf, you're never going to get to play when it's nice. And if you can't play in the wind, you're never going to play in North Dakota. So, you have to be prepared for that. So you've got to have the right equipment. I tell my girls all the time, you got to have a good rain suit, because if you have a rain suit, you can play in almost anything. But it does make it different. It certainly affects the ball. It certainly affects how you can feel your swing. The course conditions too, days when it's really, really wet, the roll you get, the clubs you're going to play then. It's always a factor. It's always something to keep in mind that we try to prepare for. So at practice, we'll hit, low shots, try to keep them out of the wind, try to play punch shots, stuff like that, depending as we get closer to the end of the season. But in the end, the best players are going to just get through it and, not making it an excuse, but just an obstacle to overcome.
Final thing for you, Lisa, before we let you go, what's the one question you get asked most in terms of what club? Is it the driver? Is it talking about the short game, maybe an iron? Could it be the putter? What is the one question, whether it's from the high school standpoint with your team or someone just kind of coming up to you in your day job and asking, how do I do this a little bit better? What's the one club that you get asked about the most in someone's golf bag?
Oh boy, that's a great question. I think people in general are most interested in getting their driver to go straighter and farther, right? To get off the tee a little bit. But my girls will tell you, boy, we work so hard on putting and chipping. We do short game. Most of these players on this team hit the ball fabulously. They hit it too far. Most of these courses from the tees that they play, the driver is too much. So they're going to play a hybrid up the tee or a fairway wood quite frequently. And we just grind on the short game because you can get away with a lot. You can get away with a driver that doesn't go straight or doesn't go very far. If you get the ball close to the green, you can get up and down. You can score. And I've played with players. I had a college teammate that did not hit the ball very well, but boy, she putted and made putts from absolutely everywhere and would shoot in the 70s in college all the time just from that. So if there's one thing you want to get better at, or you should, it's putting and chipping. And if you're on the Davies team, you're going to spend most of your time doing that. So my favorite question to the girls after their round is, always say what went well, and then, what didn't go as well as you planned. And anytime somebody says putting, I say, hey, that's what we're going to work on next practice, which we're going to do anyways. So yeah, get your putter out and work on that.
Awesome. Lisa, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck here in the 2023 season, and hopefully the weather stays good for you throughout August, September, and early October as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope you didn't just jinx us by saying that, but I got my parka ready to go if I need it.
That does it for the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, as brought to you in part by our friends at the Hillsboro Economic Development Corporation. Join us every Wednesday night at 7 for the next edition of the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show.